from the historic desk. The greasy, cheesy collapse of the Berlin Wall. How one Stasi schmuck's terminal case of the munchies accidentally delivered democracy. Extra pepperoni. All right, buckle up, you magnificent bastards, because history is way dumber and hornier than your teachers ever told you. Forget Reagan's little speeches and undercover spies swapping microfilm in foggy parks. The real hero, or, depending on your perspective, the biggest fuckwit of 1989 was a Stasi Hauptmann named Klaus Richter. Klaus wasn't a jackbooted thug. He was a soul-crushingly bored bureaucrat whose main job was compiling reports on the subversive messages in West German soap operas. His entire personality was 50 shades of beige, and the only thing he'd ever successfully penetrated was his own hand in a sock puppet he called Frau Helga. So there's Klaus, on the drizzly evening of November 9th, tasked with ordering some new surveillance gear through a glitchy, Soviet-made computer terminal. The kind of machine that probably ran on distilled misery and potatoes. But Klaus, bless his hopelessly repressed heart, got distracted. A stray thought about a buxom actress from the Pagshai Pass Forest. Yani, or maybe it was the intoxicating aroma from the office schnitzel-warmer, the archives are unclear, caused his bratwurst-sized fingers to slip. Instead of ordering a dozen new infrared cameras, he accidentally placed a catering order from a West Berlin supplier he was supposed to be monitoring for 100,000 pizzas, and, as a fateful little add-on, a literal metric ton of highly addictive, cavity-inducing American bubblegum. When the first Domino's truck, a garish rolling monument to Western excess, rumbled up to the Bornholmer Strasse checkpoint, the border guards were baffled. Then came another truck, and another. Soon, a whole goddamn fleet of them formed a glorious steaming pile-up of cheese, cheap meat, and geopolitical stupidity. The aroma of baked dough and freedom wafted over the graffiti-scarred concrete, a siren's call more potent than any CIA broadcast. East Berliners, drawn by the scent, gathered at the wall. They weren't chanting for reform or waving flags. They were sniffing the air like basset hounds who'd just discovered the world's biggest sausage. The real trouble started when a cheeky Westerner tossed a few packs of Bazooka Joe bubblegum over the barrier. A kid popped a piece in his mouth, and his eyes went wide. This wasn't the flavour of socialism. This was a sugar and corn syrup-laced explosion of pure, uncut capitalism. The crowd went feral. This wasn't a protest anymore. It was a goddamn feeding frenzy. People didn't want to escape to the West. They wanted to eat it. The guards, faced with a choice between opening fire on their hangry comrades or just grabbing a slice of pepperoni themselves, wisely chose the pizza. The officer in charge, Harold Jaeger, a man who deserves a goddamn statue made of mozzarella, just shrugged and let the human tide flow. Who was he to stand between a German and an unearned meal? The wall wasn't torn down by hammers and righteous fury. It was dismantled by thousands of people with a sudden driving need for a late-night snack. As for Klaus Richter, legend says he was swallowed by the crowd, never to be seen again, though some claim he defected and spent the rest of his days as a mysteriously wealthy Domino's franchise owner in suburban Ohio. And that, my friends, is how the Cold War ended. Not with a bang, but with a burp. Filed by Tatiana Romanova-Volkov for Historic.